Welcome everyone to this month's session of Spiritual Questions Answered by CordyKet. And tonight's topic is signs of spiritual attacks and disturbances. If you don't know me, my name is Kat, K-E-T Kat, and I'm the co-founder of CordyKet. So basically, Cordy is my wife, Kat, together we're known as CordyKet, and we've been doing this we've been teaching and providing services related to subtle energies and spirituality since 2010, and we do have quite a bit of work that are related to spiritual stuff, right? We do quite a bit of energy healing that is more towards the spiritual side, spiritual cleansings, helping people deal with evil spirits, black magic, those kind of thing. And we also do teach and do stuff like energy healing. We have our own energy healing modality called Infinity Healing. And of course, we teach also Qigong. We have our own Qigong. We teach Qigong. We also teach meditation. All right. So, and tonight's session is just to address all the questions that I tend to receive from our clients and from students, and help everyone understand a little bit more so that, it's easy for you to find the recording, and it will be on our YouTube channel. Most of it are on our YouTube channel over there. That's it, youtube.com/c/CordyKet. All right, that's our channel, and under the playlist Spiritual Questions Answered, you'll find most of the recordings there. Okay, so I'm just gonna go right into this thing about signs of spiritual attacks and disturbances. So first of all, we will try to explain what exactly qualify as spiritual attacks and disturbance. All right. So the first thing we look at is the word spiritual. Spiritual means it comes from spirits. All right. Comes from spirits or having to do with spirit, right? Spiritual. So, what kind of sources, right, would spiritual be? So, spiritual would refer to the source, right, of attacks and disturbances. I shall assume that people know what attacks and disturbances are, right? Something that is attacking, that means, not good for you, is it's sinister to you, is attacking you, right, and disturbed, right? So, I think everyone knows the meaning. So, spiritual attacks and disturbances, the first thing we want to talk about is the sources, like what kind of sources, spiritual sources are there. So I'll just make it very simple. Alright, so sources, there will be a few kinds. So most normal kind will be from spirits. Alright, spirits. Alright, and then you have those spiritual in nature, but they are not exactly spirits, and they will be energy in nature. So it will be like a negative kind of energy, and for example, black magic will fall under this, right? Black magic, voodoo, whatever you call it. Right, etc. will fall under this. And of course, another source of spiritual attacks will be humans, right? And this is usually very linked. Right, these two are very linked, human and energy, right? Because humans send the energy. So the first thing you want to understand is the sources. All right. So spiritual attacks and disturbances, in general, we can say there are three types of sources, whether it's from spirits or it's energy in nature or humans. So black magic can be, these two kind of things. And I'm going to cover the signs, right? So when we talk about signs, I'm going to start from what I consider what is. So in terms of signs, we're going to go from what is obvious, all right, very obvious, all the way down to the not obvious, all right. Alright, we're going to cover it this way. So first thing is what would constitute obvious signs of spiritual attacks, and I think the most obvious, of course, will be the ones that are physical in nature, right? So the most obvious, the first thing is physical in nature. Now, of course, if it's physical in nature, it is obvious, but then it begets the question of how do you know whether is it spiritual or is it something that is, could be just something physical, it could be just an illness. All right, so I'm going to cover some of these and then we'll address that question. All right, now for example, spiritual attacks and disturbance, right, whether it's by any of these, it can something that's very physical, it can affect your appearance. Or appearances. Now, what do I mean by that? There are people who are very affected by dark beings and or even black magic, and their physical appearance change to the point, for example, whereby they used to be relatively fair-skinned, and then their skin start to turn dark, and it has an effect like that. So, and it seems to have, there's something wrong with the skin, it shows up in the face, and this can happen to people. I don't know, anyone of you ever encountered this, right? If you have seen some people, right, and when you knew them in the, before or years ago, and they happen to have some kind of spiritual challenge, and then you notice that their skin, especially normally we see people's face, right? And then his face becomes darker and darker, so it could affect their appearance, face, right? And it could manifest like in terms of physical disabilities. So physical health, let's put it that way. Physical health can be affected. And physical health would of course include like pains, all right, aches and pains. Aches and pains. And usually these aches and pains are stuff that if you go to hospitals, sometimes they cannot even find a solution for you. All right, they cannot even find a solution for you. You can aches and pains all over the body, but the common areas is, for example, the head, the heart, and digestive system. So I'm sharing with you based on the all the many cases that we've been doing or that we've done since 2010. Now the most common things, chest. All right, chest. So next to heart is actually chest. Let me put it this way. Heart, chest, and then digestive system. So let me just give a description that's a bit more detailed. For example, head pain or headaches, right? A very common area of headaches would be heaviness and pain that is pressing, right? Pressing and very heavy pain like this, all right? Pain that is specifically here, like at the forehead area, pain at the temples, and something pain behind your head at the base of your skull, at the base of your skull near where it contacts the neck. This is very common. all right, it creeps inside and you can get all these pains. This could be, all right, now, like I said, all this could be, it does not necessarily mean affirmative. But what I'm saying is if you have these signs and the doctors can't seem to help you, it could be a possible sign of this spiritual attack or disturbances. So that was the head. Now, I'll just share some story. So, for example, there are quite a number of people who come to me, and sometimes we have a consultation, right, just online, and the person could be somewhere very far away, right? Could be all the way. In case you don't know, I'm based in Malaysia, so if you're from the Americas, North America or South America, you're right on the other side of the earth, right? And someone like was consulted me to do an energy reading to find out what's happening with the home and the family. And then I said, I told her, do you have headaches? And she said, yeah, I feel it all the time since I was young. And I told her, no, this headaches of yours, I told her, it's like it didn't come. It's not due to some physical real headache. It's actually from spirits. And she was like, huh, really? And so it's very easy. And I'll just do I did a very simple demonstration. I think I was on a video call. And all I did was I just sent my energy and I pushed all the spirits away and asked her, how do you feel now? Wow, she said, the headaches are gone, right? Headaches are gone. Lessen significantly. I'm saying, all right, see, that's because I use my energy to push away all the spirits from you. And because they're not on you, you don't have the headaches anymore. Now I retract my energy. And the spirits come back and they attach. Right, so what happens is the headaches is because the spirits, right, typically evil spirits, are attached to their victim's head to try and manipulate their thoughts, right? The spirits like to manipulate the thoughts of their victims, so they attach to the people's head, they connect to people's head, and they try to affect them. So they can make suggestions and for us, we always read about those kind of serial killers, mass murderers, or those terrorists, and sometimes they say they hear a voice in their head or instructions to kill people, right? And to us it is what it is, right? Most people don't believe in spirits, but to us that's what it is. Those people, they are hearing suggestions or instructions from spirits to commit these kind of atrocities, right? So the head is very common. Now, the second one, which is very common, heart and chest are related. All right, so if something happens to your heart, you probably feel chest pains, right? Heart and chest, and usually, for example, right? For example, I like to share real examples. So for example, I had a client in Shanghai, and what happened to him was he came to me and he said that he has been diagnosed with some heart issues, serious heart problem, because his heart is always beating very fast, arrhythmia, and he gets panic attacks. And basically, the doctor told him that he needs to stop working, right? The doctors told him that he needs to stop working to take care of his health, because his heart seems to be weak. It's always like, giving him problems. And he came to me, and so again, we did a online energy reading. He sent me photos. I read the photos. I got back to him when I was free, and told him, basically your problem has to do with energy and evil spirits. So I just told him, basically you're a person who's sensitive to energies, and in that sense you attract spirits, and there are spirits that are causing you problems, and they manifest in his heart and chest. So he kind of get, he kind of feel heavy to breathe, and a lot of heartaches and palpitations and all kinds. And I told him it's all just due to spirits. And I talked to him, and he linked, like, it gets bad when he visits the hospital. And I told him, so from our point of view, from our experience, hospitals are where a lot of people die, and that's where a lot of spirits are. So I explained that to him, and he was like, okay. So I did an energy cleansing and I removed the evil spirits, from him, and then I healed back his energies, his light, right? His light and chakras, healed it back, and he became totally fine after that. All right, totally fine after that. And basically, my advice to him was very simple: just continue to practice. We teach our practices. I told him to practice unity, qigong, and light meditation, and he'll be fine. And ever since then, he's been fine. He has no problems. But before meeting me, so he went through a few years of depression, and the diagnosis just got worse, and the doctor told him he had to stop working. He had real problems with that until he met me. So he's not just the only one, but many people will feel that. All right, so the attacks are, the signs are at the heart and the chest. Now, those of you, so some of you will be wondering why. Now, basically, we have a source of light. We have an invisible light that protects us. Right? It protects our physical body from all these spiritual attacks and disturbances. And the seat of it is in the heart. So when it's protecting us, but it's under attack, we will experience it in the heart or the chest. All right, that's actually what is happening. So that is why you feel it. So many people feel it. I've got clients who are black magic, and they can feel it. All right, the heart goes palpitation. And some of these people, they go to the doctors. They're feeling heart palpitation and everything. They do the whole heart scan, ECG, right? They spend a lot of money in the hospital to diagnose, and sometimes the doctor will say, no, there's nothing wrong with you. Whereas the client in Shanghai, the doctors actually concluded there must be something because you're feeling it and everything. But quite a number of my clients say, oh, they're feeling all these sensations and hard to breathe and panic attacks, right? And they're wondering what's up, and the doctors can't find anything wrong with them. Some people, they end up being prescribed like antidepressants kind of thing to deal with it because they have anxiety issues, right? But essentially it's nothing. And when they came to us, we checked their energy. We found that, oh, their light is weak, right? That's why they're experiencing this. We remove the spiritual disturbances, right? Solve the spiritual attacks and disturbances. We heal the light, and everything is okay. Right? Another common physical pain, right, and that will affect possibly the physical health is in the digestive system, and usually it is somewhere here. All right, probably around the solar plexus area. So some people will get like gastric attack and indigestion, or just a lot of burping, a lot of gas, or they just feel that they can't swallow. All right, and usually it's around the digestive system over here, and this is very common. So what is happening over here is typically it will be some evil spirits or related to all this spiritual form of attack, and they are connected to this area here. So this area here is an important area in the body that generates energy. All right, that generates energy. So what's happening is these spirits, they're trying to take energy from us, right? So they'll connect to this point over here, and because the energies are dark, it kind of affects us, affects especially the people who are sensitive to energies, and then these people will start experiencing digestive problems, right? They will feel something is stuck here. They don't understand why. It feels stuck, and they are they even manifest into gastric or heartburn, right? It goes on for a long time, and this thing can manifest into a real physical problem. But the cause starts from something that is energy or spiritual in nature, and it can manifest into something physical. And if this physical condition is not, or this root cause is not treated, then this physical condition can become something chronic. Chronic means long term, all right? And if it's allowed to remain, even if you remove this cause and this thing stay there, it can have some kind of a long-term effect on the person's health, right? But if these symptoms If there are these symptoms and you come to people like us and we help you remove the sources quick enough, then you normally don't have this type of these things don't become something that's long lasting. It doesn't become something that's chronic. So in general, these are some of the things that are common, and of course associated with this. If it affects the head, some people can have headaches, and from headaches, memory loss. There are other kinds of conditions like even because if it goes to the head, it affects the brain. It can cause some nerve damage. It can go to the nerve. Some people will have like shaking. It's kind of like Parkinson's, but I'm not saying Parkinson's is due to this type of stuff. But some people they have problems like that, and some people if it affects their brain too much, it affects the character. Right. So these are the common ones that are physical, and of course, I'm not even talking about the most obvious ones. Now, the most obvious ones of spiritual attacks are like possession, right? But I think I don't need to talk about it, but I'll just do a quick mention. You guys know what possession, right? So possession will be right up there, right? Right? Do you all know what possession is? So possession is when there's a spirit that takes over the victim's body, right? In case you are not aware, that's actually what happened to Cordy, right? Happened to Cordelia, and she wrote about it. If you guys are interested, right? Cordelia wrote the book. It's called Possessed from Darkness to Light by Cordelia Lee. All right, Cordelia Lee, and it's available on Amazon and Google Play Books. So basically, Cordelia was possessed, and she was also a victim of black magic, and she went through all this stuff, and ever since then we've been helping people deal with this stuff like this, and also of course the normal kind of energy healing. So possession is of course very easy to tell. It's like the person is not who you recognize, and the possessions can be I've even seen people like possess like some like animal spirit. They go on all fours, right? And the character changes. Some people they clearly enter trance. Um, it's not it, to some people, to the psychiatrists and psychologists, it may look like split personality or multi personality disorders. To us, it's not just that. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying there's no such thing as split personality disorder that arises from something wrong with the brain, or some brain damage or some psyche damage. That is real. I'm just saying from our experience, we do see a subset whereby such things, it's really possession is due to spirits, and if it is, and if the damage has not been long, right? If the person has not been possessed for too long, if you remove these sources, which are of this nature, spirits, energy, or humans, right, that cause this possession, then the person will revert back to normal like pretty fast. Usually on the same day or the next day, right, they will revert pretty much back to normal, just that they will have some trauma, mental trauma, some maybe even some brain damage, but eventually they will be all right if all these are dealt with. Right, so possession, I think, just a quick one. So possession, I think, is very obvious for people. This physical health thing, there are people, other than this, they can have um, um, what's this thing? Pains all over the body that's unexplained, right? Some people have pains all over the body that's unexplainable. I think it's called fibromyalgia. Yes. I had a client with this problem. Let me see. Just let me check the fibromyalgia. Yes. All right. Yeah. I had a client who was diagnosed with something called fibromyalgia. fibromyalgia, right, fine, and others are similar, right? So basically, fibromyalgia, right, the dictionary, right, or Google says it's a chronic disorder characterized by widespread pain, tenderness, and stiffness of muscles and associated connective tissue that's typically accompanied by fatigue, headache, and sleep disturbances. All right. Now again, it's a genuine medical condition. I don't know, because I don't know whether all the cases are like that, but I have had cases whereby it's clinically diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and the doctors just don't know how to explain, right? So, in general, when the doctors encounter patients like this, they get aches and pains all over, and there seems to be nothing that can be done over it, and it comes with all these headaches and pains, right? Which is like this whole lump of things, right? The first thing is, of course, for us, it's very simple to do some energy reading to check. And for the cases that I've encountered, all right, they are of spiritual disturbances. I have a client in India, all right. She, I think she had this fibromyalgia for 20 over years to maybe 30 years, all right, and it's unexplainable. So she knew me, recommended by another client. So what I did was, as usual, I did start off with energy reading, read her energy through photos of the people in her home and everything, and explain the situation to her. Basically, it is all spiritual nature, right? Spiritual, spirits, energies, and it's not just affecting her; it's affecting the whole family and home, right? And but she was an energy sensitive. She was an energy sensitive, so she's getting the brunt of it. It's more obvious with her. So and India, and no matter, she was agreeable to the cleansing. I cleansed her, the whole home, and after that, it went away. It went away. Can you imagine, for 20 over years? For 20 over years, she was suffering, and then eventually the doctors just diagnosed her with fibromyalgia, and there's nothing much to be done. And unless you want to, they try all kinds of medication, it doesn't quite work, and she practically gave up, and she's been living it 20 over years until she came to me, right? And I had another client in China, right? Another one in China. So similarly, but if you're thinking maybe it's like rheumatism, all right, rheumatism, and she was a diver. In China they do those water diving, and those dive and score points, that kind of thing. And she's, I think, a states level, maybe try to make the national team and compete in Olympics, that kind of thing. And she was very good, and she had this fibromyalgia, or whatever it was, aches and pains. And she was a skeptic, all right? She was a skeptic. I was doing workshops in China, and someone who attended my workshop, got her to see me when I had time, so to see whether, I could help her. And so basically, she had it for something like 10 years, and she was so skeptical, and I was doing energy healing on her, and she's like, her body language all like this and like this. And she was very skeptical on the day itself, and but I heard from the person who attended the workshop, over the next few days, it seems that her problem was cured, right? The problem was bothering her for very long, for 10 over years, right? I helped her remove it, and she was very surprised, right? She was pleasantly surprised. So there could be things like this. So some of these, it could be. So, but I want to be a bit more specific. So usually it's on the head, heart, chest, digestive system, fibromyalgia. All right. Something that can happen physically, right? Physically. Now again, I'm not saying all, but some people, when they sleepwalk, now this is physical, sleepwalk or that kind of thing, and it can be, okay. This is sensitive. Now I'm saying not everyone who sleepwalk, they are having a spiritual problem there, but there are a subset of people who sleepwalk. Is something like possession. All right, what is happening is something like possession. And if we deal with the source, all right, and then the person stops sleepwalking, then you know, right? Then you know that the sleepwalk had a spiritual origin to it. All right, so I've encountered something like this. Now, not to say all, okay, please be careful. These are some of the possible signs. All right, so usually these are the physical things, and the appearance of fish can appear black. And now, in the case of black magic, now physically it can happen lots of stuff. Okay, I've seen things that are crazy. I don't want to scare people. I've got people who like whole hands turn black and rotten, but it's irreversible, right? It came from black magic. People with strange diseases that can't go away, right? That doctors can't heal. And the thing is again, if it is due to spiritual nature, and if we intervene early enough, such that this thing doesn't go into the physical, right, and cause chronic problems, then the situation can be reversed. And usually, if you have all those other things, these things are the most common: the head, the heart, chest, digestive systems, strange aches and pains. These are very common. And if you have some of all these other things, it usually also comes with this. All right, so you kind of know. So this is the most obvious kind of stuff or signs that people can experience. So as we move to the less obvious, right? The next thing would be emotional. All right, emotional. Emotional signs would be, for example, people generally they're okay, and suddenly emotionally they become very negative. All right, normally they'll become very negative emotionally. And this negativity tends to be seen into two extremes. All right, two extremes. So one is a bad temper. So for people who some people who have a decent self-esteem, they will have very bad temper and become very egoistic, and they will start scolding, which is very bad temper, right? And for people who have self-esteem issues, usually low confidence and all that, they normally, due to negativity, they go into depression. All right, and it's kind of vicious cycle thing. If you go into depression, you become very negative. You attract more of these negative energies or negative spirits to you. Same thing goes with temper, right? So it's kind of a chicken and egg problem. But definitely, if emotionally, it can be emotionally negative, and then you attract something to you, or it's because you have the spirits, negative spirits with you, negative spirits, negative energies with you, and then it can cause this. So it's kind of chicken and egg thing. But usually when we encounter people like this, whereby they sudden change, right, from a person who's healthy, mentally healthy, and they get some depression, someone who is okay until they get very bad temper, or they get bad. Usually this bad temper, it can be so bad, and usually they find that they have no self-restraint, right? They have no self-restraint. They just explode. And when we come in, right, and when we come in and we remove these sources, usually it's not to say that people don't have bad temper, but they find that, hey, the frequency and the duration of bad temper or sad, or right, people still have emotions. They can have negative emotions, but it's not as severe, and they have a lot more self-control when it comes to their emotions, right? Usually that's the way. So so this is something that is is a bit sensitive, right? Because not many people will believe that emotional can be linked to this. But we have many cases, and usually, so after we remove the work, and we again we teach people, right, our practices, which is unity, qigong, and light meditation. right, to maintain your positive energies, and you find that this will no longer be an issue. No longer be an issue. So we have people, for example, who were depressed, they were, you know, and they couldn't help themselves, so they had a session with us, or they just practiced our Unity Chico meditation, and it seems to work. All right, it seems to work, and of course, after it works, then you know you can you become a totally much better person. You don't have these problems anymore, right? So it can happen that way, right? I'm not again. We want to be very grounded over here. This is not to say that people can't have bad or negative emotions, all right? All of us have good days and bad days. If it's a little bit too extreme, right, it can be a sign, and that is something that you might want to consider, all right? Especially if you can remember previously you were not so bad emotionally, or that friend or loved one or family of yours, you know, their emotions used to be a lot more stable and suddenly they become totally unstable. Could there be a could it be a spiritual problem, spiritual energy problem? It might be. All right, it might be. So that's one of the things. So the other thing, okay, from emotional to something that's less obvious would be, so of course, mental, emotional is kind of linked, right? So it's kind of linked, and so for example, bad temper, some people will be diagnosed with bipolar, some with clinical depression. I've got all these type of clients. Again, it's very sensitive. It's not to say that there is no such thing as clinical depression or bipolar or whatever. I've got those clients, they had it very difficult time, and they happen to see me, and not exactly for their conditions, but they feel that something is wrong. They ask me to take a look. I do energy, and then they try, and they're like, wow, they feel very different after the healing sessions, after the cleansing sessions. And yes, so for some people with some of these even these issues, it can be due to spiritual thing. Now again, I emphasize this: if this situation is allowed to go on too long, even if it's caused by this, now anyone in the mental line, they will tell you that someone who have clinical mental issues, their brain changes. All right, the brain changes because the brain is plastic. Brain is plastic means the brain can change easily. So we've done cases whereby if we did early intervention, then the person can heal and become normal very fast. And there's some people, it takes time, right? It takes time, but from the point when these sources are removed from them, they feel much better. And then the brain takes time to heal and revert back to something that is more normal. All right. So it's sometimes the time factor is very important. If these things are allowed to be with the person for a long time, it can lead to real physical change that is a chronic health problem. All right. It can lead to that. Okay, so not all the physical problems are actually spiritual in nature, but some of them it can be due to this. All right, so mental, and in mental, I want to make some mention, right? That's more related to mental and this. So we got all this. The other thing is dreams, or what I would say nightmares. So now, dreams and nightmares would, for example, be those whereby they have a dream of being attacked by spirits, right? Or they are in the dream, they're being chased by monsters or snakes or something scary, and they're always running away from something that's hunting them, that is menacing, right? That is evil, and it always comes in the dreams and nightmares. That could be a sign, all right? And it's kind of linked to something, right, in the sleep. Okay, so which is also, you can say, is linked to physical, right? Is what people call sleep paralysis. So Now, sleep paralysis can be either mental or physical, because some doctors think it's all in the mind. Right? Some doctors think it's all in the mind. It's just a dream. It's not real. Some people know it's real, and you can put it under here if you want. You can put it under here also. Right? Sleep paralysis. So, now what is sleep paralysis? Sleep paralysis is when you're sleeping and you kind of suddenly you can't move. You're paralyzed, and usually if it is due to this kind of source, the victim usually can feel a presence of an entity, a spirit, usually evil presence or something like that, and it's pressing down on you, not allowing you to move, or you can experience something that's very clear is due to another presence of an entity that's present in the same room or on your bed, pressing you down, or one or more of that. All right, but the English term or medical term, they call it sleep paralysis, as if they cannot move. But for some people, they can clearly see that there are some spirits, some shadows, or it happened in the dream. Sometimes it happens in the dream. Sometimes it happens when they are waking. And I've experienced this myself too. And I can tell you, it was very clear to me that it's due to a spirit. All right, I still remember to today. Right, I went for a drink in the pub. I didn't get drunk, but I did drink more than usual. And it seemed that something followed me home from the pub or bar. And something would press me down, and it didn't just press me down. It was, it was touching me all over, and it played with my penis, right? And it kind of like do like this, my penis is like, hey, if it's just sleep paralysis, the way the doctors explain it is due to something psychological, something mental, or it could be just a dream or nightmare, right? It won't have very distinct feeling that something was playing with my weenie, right? So I was very clear, and I remember I got out of it by chanting a Buddhist mantra, right? So yes, so sleep paralysis can be also something that is under that. Now, less and less obvious would be something like tiny character changes. All right, tiny character changes. So the character of the person might change over time. It's very deviate very slightly, or it can be very, very not so obvious kind of sensations like all these, but very slight, very slight. And all these can have to do with, for example, it can be due to either the spirits are very skilled and very able to hide. They don't wish their presence to be known. So their spirits are these people. For example, they are the standard low dimensional spirits like demons and ghosts. Those are normally very obvious, and you have all these depression, bad temper. So depression, fear, panic attacks, all those kind of things, right? Like panic attacks, anxiety, anxiety, nervous breakdown. I've had clients whereby they had nervous breakdown for no apparent reason, and again, it's due to some evil spirits. So all this can be like that. But some spirits, they are very clever. They want to. Basically, the spirits are here to take energy from us. All right, the spirits want energy from us. We kind of like their source of energy. So spirits, they are a form of energy, and they take it away from us, right? So that they get stronger because they're energy consciousness. So normally I try to explain what happens is so this is a standard situation. This is a normal human. We are normally surrounded by light. We have a light in our heart that protects us. This light in the heart will create our 7 chakras, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? 7 chakras, and the chakras will create our aura. All right, and the evil spirits are typically like ghosts. All right, ghosts. All right. And so what happens is they will try normally whenever we get negative, right, we generate negative energy, and then our aura will have holes, right? And then these spirits, or they will try to trigger us, they try to make us angry and everything. When we get angry, they will have holes, and these spirits will take our energy and they become bigger. And they grow bigger, bigger. What they want is energy, and our life will shrink. Our life will shrink. The aura will shrink until it cannot protect the body. So if the aura shrinks, the light shrinks until it cannot even protect the body, that's when possession can happen. So they treat as an energy source. That's exactly what's happening. All right. So some spirits, they are very obvious. Some they are not obvious. So they, for us, we always find that it's harder to deal the really powerful ones and the really clever ones. They will not make it very obvious. So these are the very obvious ones, right? So now, whether it's caused by humans who do black magic or some energy. So what is energy? So some people have energy problems with spiritual attack. For example, maybe you move in a home and the home. I had a client. I had a client. So I think they bought the house. The father bought the house, right? It was bought it second hand, and they moved into it, and they start having problems they didn't know. And they only found out when some people who were very spiritual visited the home and said that there's something wrong with the kitchen. There's something wrong with the kitchen at the back. It just don't feel good. Near the kitchen, near the toilet there. And then so I was called in and I said, wow, what happened was there was a portal. Right? So portal is there's no spirit, it's not spirit, but it's more energy. It's a portal that opens up and allows spirits to come into the home through that. And the portal was there because the previous occupant was kind of doing some dark prayers or black magic kind of prayers and trying to summon spirits, for wealth or whatever reason could have been, and open the portal, and the portal wasn't closed. So I had to close the portal, remove all the evil spirits, and after that, the energy felt much better, and even the lady could feel the difference. All right, so it can be something due to that. It could be residual energy, could be from black magic that's left behind from previous owner, or some negative energies that people, for example, there could be a traumatic attack like terrorist bomb, or a lot of people die there, and then the energy is very bad, and some people will experience this type of things because there is also energy and spirits involved, right? So character changes is actually very difficult to tell because people's character do change, right? So and there are things that are really, really not obvious, and usually people who are learning infinity healing, we teach them a lot more, right? How to find out all this, and of course, even more not obvious are things having to do with our energies. Our energies, right? Our energy. So, for example, we teach people about the light chakras and our energy anatomy. So, most people cannot feel subtle energy, so people can't tell, right? But I think most people are not into this. And if you're very interested, right, in the science, these are the more obvious ones. And you can, so this usually happens to the spirits whereby they are high dimension, high frequency, but they are evil, they're sinister. And normally they try to turn a person slowly around. They normally affect the energy and the character of the person very slowly deviate over time. It's very difficult to tell unless you know what to look for. All right. There may be some slight signs that are around this. There may be some period of headaches or heart pain, chest pains, a little bit of digestive system issue, but most people don't think too much about these, you see. All right, so this more or less covers it, and I'm going to spend the rest of the time addressing your questions. So if you feel that this does not quite answer your questions, please feel free to type and I'll look through your questions. All right, so Evan asked, the size of spirits can be how small, big? So not necessarily big or small, so they're essentially energy form, but sometimes they can have a big presence for when they're big energy, and they're small, they can small presence. So it can be very huge, it can be very small, it doesn't matter. So the size is for us, it's not an issue because it's not physical anyway. So it's not like it's big and it occupies the whole room and you cannot walk past it. It can be big and in the whole room, but you can still walk past it because it's something that's energy, spirit in nature. All right. So Evan, again, asking, will chanting mantra help to elevate the pain at the head? So chanting a mantra, some mantras can help, right? So if the mantras are really good, it will be able to help some, but not all. So there are reasons why it doesn't work, and I think I have another video called "What are spiritual emergencies?" All right. So spiritual emergency, if you're being attacked and all, I did mention. Now, if we are to expect that evil spirits and they can't do anything when people pray or chant, then then in Malaysia we say then they don't need to cari makan. In Chinese say 他们不用混了 You get what I mean? Then they don't need to make a living. They don't need to make a living anymore, right? Because they are actually interested in energy as a currency to become stronger and stronger. So so sometimes chanting mantras can help, provided it's the right type of mantra and if you chant out loud. Okay, sometimes, but it doesn't always work because the evil spirits know people chant mantras to protect themselves against spiritual attacks. So mantras and prayers is a very basic thing. Not to say it cannot work, but if you do it with faith, without fear, all right, and maybe not in the place where you're experiencing, please go to the video spiritual emergencies. About spiritual emergencies, more is explained there, how to deal with it. Okay, so Letitia is asking, what about weight gain? Exercise and diet doesn't seem to help. Weight gain may not necessarily be a spiritual attack, but there for some people the weight gain is energy in nature. So this if there's something wrong with your energies and something that's wrong with your energy can be due to spiritual problems, right? Then it can cause to weight gain. But the big question is, right, for Letitia is, did the weight gain happen suddenly? All right, is this something that's very acute? It happens over a short period of time. The person could have been all the while okay, and then suddenly weight gain. I also had a client whereby the son had a hungry ghost, right? Was kind of possessed by a hungry ghost, and then the boy just kept on eating and eating and eating and eating. So he never had that kind of problem until something happened, and then he something like a hungry ghost, right? Possessed the boy, and then the boy just keep on eating and then start gaining weight, right? And then so the first thing is we need to stop from the source of the problem. Now I just want to make it clear. So now what we do is we cannot say whether we don't just speculate, right? We don't speculate that it's a spiritual problem. So we always do an energy reading, and anyone who has learned immunity, right, up to a certain level, right, especially from module 5 onwards, 5th module onwards, you learn how to start learning how to do energy reading, right? For us, we specialize in reading energy, and we just charge a small sum, right, as consultation. We will check your energy, and if we find that your problem is to be due to this, then we will let you know. And if you find that no, your problem is not due to spiritual or energy in nature, then please go back to your doctor, have a look at it. Then we'll just let you know. And so the consultation is typically not expensive. It depends where you are. But if you're in Malaysia, right? If you're in Malaysia, you're happy. You can. It's just 50 ringgit to 100 bucks, 50 ringgit to 100 ringgit, and we'll just check you out and. That's just treat it as a consultation, and if there is a problem, then we'll let you know, what needs to be done and what the fees are involved. If it's not, we'll be happy to tell you that your problem has nothing to do with energy or spirit in nature. All right, hope that answers your question. Edwin again, besides light meditation and unity qigong, can other methods, say crystal, gemstone chanting, help to prevent spiritual attacks and disturbances? So actually, again, I think the question has been answered in the video called Spiritual Emergencies, and I did mention that crystals, gemstones, all these, they are very basic methods. If they can work, fine. If they don't work, that's because these are very normal methods, and if you encounter any spirit that's of a certain level, chanting, prayers, it's not that good. It's very basic level, but what we are teaching people, right? Unity qigong and light meditation is not an ordinary method, and if you actually really do it right, and many people have found that it really works. Just that maybe you need to do a long time, all right, or you need to do it properly, or you need to attend our online sessions. So if you attend our online sessions for all these online sessions is free, or if you are happy, you can support us by making a donation. So we are conducting all these sessions online for free, teaching people. Again, Edwin, can aura camera detect spiritual attack on photo? Some aura photos, some aura cameras, or in fact some cameras can. So not all. Now spirits, they have different frequencies. So some of the for example, if you guys know paranormal investigators, they're actually like ghost hunters. So what they go around with camera, especially infrared camera. They go around with their electrical things. They're trying to sense electromagnetic stuff, electromagnetic fluctuation, cameras, and so on. Now, some of the evil spirits will show up in infrared cameras because the spirits happen to be in the same, more or less the same frequency as infrared. But there are spirits in different frequencies, so you cannot expect these instruments to be able to catch them all. And usually the spirits that are less obvious, that cause less obvious signs, they are the clever ones. They always stay hidden, and usually no instruments can find them, right? It's really tricky when it comes to that. But for people who are really trained, then you kind of, you can actually find them. So aura cameras is possible, but now let me put it this way also. Now, if the spirits, or if it's spirits and spirits have consciousness, if spirits know that you're going to use a camera or something, do you think that, and if the spirits don't want to be found out, do you think the spirit is going to stay there and dance and say hi, take a picture of me, and you get what I mean? They're not stupid, huh? So I do tell people that the spirits are not stupid. If they know you're going to a temple, go and seek help, they might even, you're going to a temple, they won't follow you to a temple, right? You're going to see a priest, all right? Or if they know the priest is coming, they can leave. If they know the priest is, more powerful than them. So they have consciousness, and don't think they don't know your plans, because they can hear you, right? They are with the victim. If the victim knows, that means the spirits can know. All right, we have to take into consideration these things. They have consciousness. All right, they are sentient beings. All right, again, Edwin, fortifying the mind using moonstone to strengthen the afflicted moon for individual may help. Okay, now again, so I really don't advise using all these stones and everything. In fact, a number of my clients, they are affected because there are spirits in the crystals and the stones and the gems that they use, right? In fact, I went for a seminar and I helped a guy, and he was affected after buying I can't remember the name of the bluestone. The bluestone, Larima. He bought a piece of Larima. All right, and he was very sick after that, and I checked it and I cleansed it for him, and I helped him, and then he could feel the stone felt very different before and after I did it for him. So now, and if you're the type who tend to use stones and crystals and all this, if you encounter a spirit that is powerful enough, it will overpower the original positive energies in the stones and crystals, and then it go inside. And when you use it, you put it on yourself. Then when you put it on yourself, you are absorbing it, and then the spirit can gain access to you. So normally we don't advise on all this. We instead, why we teach people Unity Qigong and light meditation is to strengthen your inner light. When you strengthen all your inner lights and positive energies, you just kick them out, right? You kick them out, and this is something that is innate, something that you're supposed to have. But you rely on external stuff, and the external stuff, if the ego spirits know and they can corrupt and taint it, then you're in trouble. All right, so it's not so clear. The really devious ones, they really know what to do. Can attempt to move the tailbone to escape the sleep paralysis. Now, so there's some people who say they can move the tailbone now because in the tailbone there's a kundalini, but it's very difficult to activate it. All right. So the thing is, if you're really paralyzed, you cannot move at all. You can't even open your mouth. Have you ever experienced a sleep paralysis? Well, let me guarantee you, okay, I experienced it before, and other people, you can't do a thing, right? But one of the things is you can try to chant internally or whatever. There is a chance that maybe you can do, or you can try to do our Unity Qigong, right? Those of you who learn Unity Qigong, you can do it. Unity Qigong, light meditation when you're having sleep paralysis, and you can get it out. All right. Edwin, for a laptop PC, we can use safe mode when attacked. For human spiritual attack, what emergency method can one do to achieve the safe mode? The safe mode is light meditation. Light meditation is safe mode. All right, light meditation is safe mode. You're activating the light itself. When you do light meditation, you're activating the inner light. That is your safe mode. Judy is asking, how can I tell the difference between my anxiety versus someone else's anxiety and being attacked when my heart is racing? Now, very good question by Judy. Now, if you are an empath or you are an energy sensitive, right, you may experience this. All right, you may experience this, and it can be so. As in, this is in panic or anxiety. Now, and this panic and anxiety can come from you, or can come from another person, or it can come from a spirit. So the first thing is, how can you tell that it's not from you? All right, the first thing you can tell that it's not from you is if you know there is no valid reason or no logical reason for you to feel panic or anxiety, and if you're feeling it, then it has to be due to energy or spirit. So to me, spirit is just another form of energy. So the next question is the energy coming from someone you know or don't know, or is it coming from a spirit? And normally it's very difficult to tell the difference. But if you are learning in Unity healing, you will learn some methods to tell the difference. But if you are a member of public, what we recommend is, for example, Judy, you have learned Unity Qigong and light meditation, right? Basically, if you can do Unity Qigong and light meditation and it goes away, then you know it's an energy problem, because Unity Qigong and light meditation helps solve these energy and spiritual related problems. All right. So, and if it is, even if it's your own panic anxiety or anxiety, Unity Qigong and light meditation can help you reduce it. But if it's really your own panic and anxiety and there is a real logical reason, you will still feel a little bit of anxiety because you have not dealt with the problem. Right? For example, you are about to go and give a speech on the stage, right? So there will be some anxiety or stage fright, and that is a real thing. There's a real logical reason. You can do Unity Qigong and light meditation, but it does not change the fact that you're about to step up there on stage and face 1,000 people in the auditorium or a few hundred people in the auditorium, and that will set anyone's heart racing, right? But because you do enough Unity Qigong and light meditation, your energy is positive, you find yourself much more stable, and you're not so anxious, right? But you will still feel the anxiety. That's when you know it comes from yourself. All right. So Skita is asking us. Oh yes. So Skita is saying yes. Cannot open eyes or open mouth during sleep paralysis. So Skita has experienced it too. So does having stressful dreams, nightmares, always affected by entities? No. Now, so I'm saying some of these dreams, and the dreams the dreams are normally indicative that you have a spirit problem is usually whereby you're being chased by monsters, snakes, or some evil, right? So not necessarily stressful dreams. So Suskita is mentioning stressful dreams. Stressful dreams, like, it could be, now we, doctors and scientists do understand that dreams are a way for our brain to unwind, to process, and it's also it's part of our subconscious. Our subconscious can float up in dreams, so it could be any of those things, not necessarily due to spiritual attack. But what I meant by the dreams and nightmares is, especially if you're something that's hunting you, right? You dream of monsters, demons, and snakes, those kind of thing. Yeah, that can be, right. I've got quite a number of, quite a lot of people who experience that, and it's usually linked to this type of spiritual problems. So Xiaofang Suskita says, dreamt of a visit tomb of grandma, passed away recently, and it was a very scary environment. Maybe got traumatized by the funeral. Yes, maybe. All right. So are there any more questions? So I hope I managed to share with you all, right? To share with you all these. These are the very common ones, because I do get asked quite a lot about it. So it's good to have a video of that. Okay, if there are no more questions, thank you for attending. And if you find that you benefited and would like to support our online events, please do consider making a donation, right? I'll send it out, how to make a donation in the groups. In the Facebook group is under the featured or announcement section. All right, thank you for joining me. I hope to see you again next month. Tomorrow, if you're new, you would like to learn tomorrow night at the same time, 9 p.m. Malaysian time, Sunday night, right? I'll be conducting the Unity Qigong class. All right, if you think you're having some of these issues and you would like to try, you can attend tomorrow night session. All right, hope to see you there. Thank you and good night. Goodbye.